Hey, welcome to Good News 101. This is the third video in this series designed to help you understand the good news, the gospel of Jesus for yourself well enough that you can apply it to your own life and then share it with others. In the first two videos, we talked about a way of explaining the good news that focuses on the story of the good news. Jesus lived a perfect life. He died on the cross, rose from the grave, sent his Spirit, and went to prepare a place for us in heaven. That's fantastic, and there's probably more detail in that video or those two videos than I'm going to share in this one today. But today, I'm going to focus on a method called the 3 circles. I did not invent this, but it's probably the most effective way to simply communicate and understand what Jesus has done for us that I've come across. So I've used both of these methods in sharing my faith with people around me, and I hope that you get the chance to do it as well. So let me just dive right in, and throughout the video, there'll be places, if you're doing this with your life group especially, where you're going to press pause and then break into groups or pairs to kind of do some drawing and talking and all of that. If you're on your own, still press pause at those points so that you can actually do some homework and practice what it is you're learning. So let's dive right in. The first circle of the 3 circles that you're going to draw is a circle called brokenness. And this is because all of us experience a level of brokenness in our lives. All of us are victims to some degree. In other words, we've been hurt by people. We're carrying wounds or bitterness or regrets. Other times we just can't seem to get it together. They're destructive habits. There's something wrong with us. Not that we're horribly bad people necessarily, but just we can't seem to get it together. What's unique about Christianity is that it makes the claim that this brokenness is actually due to the fact that we're separated from the love of God, that we're designed to be in relationship with God, but there's something in between us. We're not living the life that God has for us, the thriving life that God has in mind. And this gap between us and the perfect love of God is what the Bible calls sin. Now, sin is just another way of describing, again, this brokenness, this twisting of our orientation towards God, towards ourselves, towards our identity, towards each other, all of that. Now, the problem is that without God in the picture, even with God in the picture, some of us, and this is what religion does, is it tries to recapture what we've lost or what's been broken, try to fix ourselves. And there's 2 streams, there's 2 ways that we can do this. Number 1 is through self-effort. So maybe if I try hard enough, I can get back to that place. I can repair myself. I can overcome this bad habit. I can fix my marriage. I can do this, you know? And this effort, it kind of puts the onus squarely on us. And the problem is that no matter how hard we try, we can't ever earn God's love. We can't get to the life that we long for just by trying harder. We can make progress. That's why the arrow actually does leave the gravitational field somewhat of this brokenness, but eventually it just peters out and we can never quite get there. The second way that we try to repair or compensate for this gap that we sense and this brokenness that we feel is maybe we say, you know what, effort's never going to get me there. I've tried it. I've been there, done that. So I'm just going to indulge myself, right? Like if I can't fix myself, I might as well enjoy myself. And so we think maybe what I'm missing is I just need a bigger car. I need a faster car. I need a bigger house, or I need a better looking girlfriend or boyfriend, or I need some pleasure. I need to get drunk. I need an escape. I need something to, numb the pain. Whatever it is, these are the 2 ways that we compensate for this lack of love that we feel, this lack of purpose, and the brokenness that we sense on a daily basis. And again, the problem is both of these, they don't deliver the goods. And so we find ourselves disappointed. Now, here's the good news. That's just the setup. for the good news. That's in some ways the bad news, right? The great news is that God loves us so much, and God is so aware of our brokenness and our failed attempts to compensate for it through effort and indulgence. He's so aware of our sin problem and the gap between him and us that created, that he sent Jesus to do for us what we can't do for ourselves. So Jesus died on the cross, that's the first part of the diagram, to pay the price for all our failed efforts, for all of our indulgence, for all of this ways that we've screwed up our lives and tried to make a go of it ourselves and failed. He took the weight of that on himself, paid for it so that we can be completely forgiven, and that doesn't have to weigh on us anymore. It's no longer up to us. But he didn't stay dead. He rose from the grave, defeating the powers of death and hell and Satan and all the things that were keeping us broken, right? And then he sends us his Spirit. That's the puffy cloud, or you could talk about heaven, but I think the Spirit is really important. He sent his Spirit to come live in us so that we can live connected to the love of God and have a relationship with God through Jesus. So Jesus is unique because there's no other religion in the world where God has taken the initiative to come to us. We, again, in most religions, need to make the effort to try and compensate for what we've lost, which again is a failed attempt at futility, right? So what do we have to do to experience what Jesus has done for us? Well, it's very simple, actually. It's not easy, but it's simple. And that is, we need to turn from our sin. In other words, our failed attempts through our own effort or our old indulgence, the ways that we've failed, the way that we've wrecked things or ruined our lives or made a mess of things. We need to turn from that and our own effort and trust in what Jesus has done for us instead. That's literally what it is. We need to turn from our sin and our failed attempts to fix things and trust in Jesus instead. Once we've done that, then we have access to that forgiveness, that resurrection life, and the power of his Spirit, which then frees us to both grow into God's love and to go back into this broken world that we live in, full of God's love, to try and reach more and more people. So that's the 3 circles in a nutshell. This go and grow. Now, here's something else that you need to know about this brokenness circle, because some people don't use the word broken, right? So you might be sitting down with a friend and they might be talking about anger issues. They might be talking about how they keep blowing their top and they just can't seem to fix it. And you're going, oh my goodness, that fits right into the diagram, right? So this is a springboard for someone's specific brokenness, right? Maybe it's loneliness that they're struggling with. Maybe it's addiction that they're struggling with, or regret. Or again, maybe they've been wounded. Maybe they've experienced a profound loss in their life. Regardless of what it is, you can just literally imagine 1,000 different ways of using that brokenness circle as a springboard to share your faith. Okay. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take some time. You're going to pause the video in a second, and we're going to put this into practice. So if you need to refer back to something, please do that. And I'll put the slide up while you're doing this. I'll put the slide up that has the 3 circles so you can cheat if you need to. If you're on your own and you're just watching this video, pause it and draw the 3 circles on a sheet of paper and narrate it to yourself. And yes, I mean out loud, because you need to use the words, okay? So let's pause the video and we can go from there.